what is the role of the architect today in our society, because I think it can have many roles. The architecture profession is quite complex, in fact, and every segment can create its own role. I mean, you can be an architect, a moderator, and you can initiate discussions, and that should be as valuable as an architect builder or an architect entrepreneur. We just imagine too much, or we just have too big respect for the architects' stars, I would say, who create some sort of dogmatic ideology imbued within contemporary architecture. I think that, first of all, architects has nowadays, of course, a role of questioning the existing situation, but not only as a physical entity, but as a social, political, economic, of course, and it does have a political role, and it can have a political power too. So I don't believe that architects has no power or they have no word to say. They have absolutely the closest access to power when we talk about space. They don't have to manifest it through building space always. They can manifest it, like I said, through a discussion with local inhabitants or local initiatives, or on the other side with politicians as well, and have some, some constructive opinions. Yeah, I think it's, at the moment, the role of the architect, as I see it performed, is super problematic. And that has to do with the definition of the profession itself. It's still based on an object, simply speaking. It's not recognizing a process that could be deconstructed, turned around, I don't know, changed in different ways. And that's what I mean, a process of production of architecture, So there is an enormous lot of work to do. I find this profession extremely conservative, extremely framed and rigid. And that was also one of the reasons that I've been working in the art context quite a long time. However, I have a passion for architecture. Yeah. As I said at the beginning, they have it in their political agendas. They recognize participation as a valuable element within democratic society and so on. But I don't think they know what they talk about. In many cases, they don't know. They don't know that these processes takes a lot of energy and a lot of time. When you want to discuss ideas with people, 10 people, you need loads of time before you agree upon something. And it's not such an easy process. It is, and it can be, of course, very manipulated. And that's what happens many times. There are certain prescriptions how participatory processes within urban planning should be run. And if you have done certain points, you have done the process, and that's it. And let's go on. Somehow this participation, as understood from political programs, I'm always very suspicious about, really. I think that they have not ever experienced any real process happening. When we want to introduce a change in a certain area, that is bound to specific budgets. The budgets are bound to time. And this time is becoming a value suddenly. And of course, everybody thinks, we will be developing the project according to this time as it's regular time, but it isn't regular time. It's actually taking much more time. And that means, of course, more money too. So there are certain contradictions, certain conflicts that are there because of of old systems, old ways of producing, trying to introduce a notion of participation, or I don't know, even cooperation, or another kind of processes that would amplify democratic decisions. All these things are slowing down the processes, and that means, you know, that the real estate values wouldn't rise as they are planned, or the change of the area will not be as it's planned because people would be behaving differently as it's planned, and so on. So it's a lot of unplanned factors within the processes of participation or the processes of cooperation. So that is, to me, to my eyes and to my experience, quite incompatible to what exists today as a official process of transformation, renewal, regeneration, you know, call it whatever. I'm interested in different places, and I'm interested in the knowledge that is produced within that place. That knowledge is mainly produced by people living in this place, in this particular place. So to learn from the place, I have to talk to people. I have to involve people in a certain way. And I have to look for partners who are knowledgeable in that sense. I mean, that's the reason that I start to look in the process of participation. It's to produce specific kind of knowledge for myself, to be able, it's like a material for work, in fact. The context for me is a half of the work. Participation, or let's say collaboration. When we announce collaboration, that means we share responsibility as well. It's not only about taking credits as an author or as an artist or architect. In fact, we both, or we all, are sharing responsibility. That's something that is not so much discussed, but that's how I would understand, and I try to discuss that with people who I work with.